So, as many of my followers, supporters, and Patreon subscribers know, I did a one-on-one interview yesterday with a up-and-coming black female YouTuber by the name, she goes by the username Sweet Melody Speaks. Sweet Melody Speaks. And it ended up being one of the longest one-on-one interviews I've ever had with anybody, male or female. Yeah, we ended up, the total interview was like almost 5 hours. Almost 5 hours. My average one-on-one interview is usually somewhere between 2 to 2.5 hours. That would be my average, usually when I do an interview. I've done interviews as short as about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. And prior to yesterday, I think my longest interview might have been maybe 3.5 hours. But yeah, this interview was, I think it was 4 hours and 45 minutes. It was like about 15, 16, 17 minutes shy of 5 hours. Props to Melody. She asked me a lot of good questions. A lot of intelligent, specific, straightforward questions, which is what a good interviewer is supposed to do. You know, some questions she asked me were not easy to answer. And yeah, she asked me some very good questions. So, number one, I want to compliment her on her interviewing skills. And she has a very pleasant voice to listen to. Very feminine. Very sexy. I said the one thing that was somewhat unique about this interview was, if you all remember, most of my longtime followers remember when the black female YouTuber Irene Yvette interviewed me in mid-January of 2019. And we were supposed to have a second interview. Yeah, in case you didn't know that or don't remember, yeah, she and I were supposed to have a second interview. And the second interview was going to be primarily about BDSM, the BDSM lifestyle and the polyamory lifestyle. And it never happened. Mainly because her common law husband vetoed it at the time. Because I made it known that I was probably going to be using some degree of profanity, some degree of R-rated, X-rated, and triple X-rated sexually explicit language. And she said her common law husband wasn't cool with that, so we ended up canceling the interview. So you could say the interview that happened yesterday, in many ways, was the interview that was supposed to happen with Irene Yvette. Because probably, I'd say no less than 40% of the interview, if not more, centered on me discussing my experiences with the BDSM lifestyle and polyamory lifestyle. And so yeah, like I said, it was a good discussion. But per usual, I had at least probably like a half a dozen haters and harsh critics in the chat room. And if you go back and watch it and you pay attention to the chat room, you'll be able to quickly and easily identify who those brothers were. What did I say when I first got on YouTube? In very cocky fashion. What did I say when I first got on YouTube, which was in April 2017? I said, man, you can't fade Mo 1. You can't fade Mo 1. Do you know I've had guys since the mid to late 1980s that have been trying to fade Mo 1 and have been unsuccessful. So we ain't talking about having haters and critics since over the last 3 years, or last 4 years, last 5 years. Man, I've had haters and critics of my Mo 1 approach literally since 1985, which was the first full calendar year that I was Mode 1 with women. Actually, I mentioned before, my first haters and crazy, believe it or not, were some of my closest friends. Like, predominantly my frat brothers. No, my frat brothers, not all of them, but a percentage of my frat brothers used to be haters of my Mode 1 approach. Until they saw with their own eyes that it worked. You know, even my brother. Now, my brother, he was never a hater of Mode 1, but he was more so a skeptic until he saw it work with his own eyes, which is the infamous grocery store story where I had the woman suck my dick in the grocery store. That was the night, you know, I've told that story many times. I don't feel like telling it again, but that was the story that made the incident that first made my brother a believer in the Mode 1 approach. Prior to that, again, I wouldn't so much call him a hater of Mode 1, but he was a severe skeptic of it. But man, ain't nobody been able to fade Mode 1. I don't even know why these guys keep trying to. Now, there was one guy in the chat room, I had to give him points for at least being honest. I've always said, man, why don't some of y'all just come out and say, instead of making up excuses for hating on me and or my Mode 1 approach, just come out and say, I don't like you. I'm going to just put it simple and blunt. I don't like you. And there was at least one guy who did that actually last night. He said something to the fact in the chat room. He said, I don't really have a specific criticism of ARC's Mode 1 approach. I just don't like him. That's what he said. He said, I just don't like him. I just don't like him as a person. I don't like him. And he has the right to feel that way. People have a right to dislike who they choose to dislike. But here was my $1 million question. If you dislike me, why the fuck you listening to a one-on-one interview where I'm the guest? That's what I want to know, man. What is with this YouTube thing where somebody wants to come in a chat room and listen to somebody that they claim not to like? I don't want to listen to anybody that I don't like unless they one or two things. There's only one or two exceptions. Is if that person I dislike mentions my name and or I feel like they're borrowing talking points from one or more of my books or my videos without giving me credit for it. That's the only time I'm going to be willing to listen to somebody that I don't like, that I don't care for, is if they've recently mentioned my name, particularly in a critical or negative way, and or they're borrowing talking points from one or more of my books or one or more of my videos without giving me proper credit attribution. That's the only two exceptions when I'll be willing to listen to somebody in a podcast or a live stream that I don't like. Otherwise, man, other than those two exceptions, man, I don't want to listen to you if I don't like you. I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to listen to you. But yet, you had, again, it wasn't dozens of guys. I would say it was roughly about 6 guys. At most, maybe 7. About 6 or 7 guys that were in the chat room that was either hating on me as an individual person and or hating on my Mode 1 approach. Now, as far as people who are just hating on me as an individual human being, those are the ones I really don't care about. I mean, I could give a fuck. I could give a fuck. But as far as the ones who were trying to hate on my Mode 1 approach, man, why you at this point, why are you even trying, man? I've been Mode 1, man, again, since August of 1984. Ain't nobody faded me yet. Ain't nobody presented me with a legitimate criticism of Mode 1 that would just totally eviscerate the validity and effectiveness of my Mode 1 approach. Not one person. Not one person. Many have tried and all have failed. Not one motherfucking person. I triple dare anybody to say it. Because the biggest evidence that no person has faded is the simple fact that I'm still around. If somebody had truly, thoroughly eviscerated the validity and effectiveness of my Mode 1 approach, I would be out of business. I wouldn't be able to earn a living as a book author and a dating coach. My books are still highly ranked. I pointed it out before. Go on Amazon and see for yourself. My 2006 Mode 1 ebook is still one of the top sellers. It's 15 years old. fade me in my Mo 1 approach? Are you just stupid, or you just got too much free time on your hands? Yeah, this is a rant, somewhat. Remember I did that video? I've referenced it a few times. I did a video called The Top 5 Dumbest and or Most Invalid Criticisms I've Heard Against the Mo 1 Approach. The top 5 dumbest and or most invalid criticisms. I've heard quite a few criticisms of my Mo 1 approach, but I did a video. I said, if I had to narrow it down to what I would call my top 5 most frequently expressed criticisms, I listed 5. And I would say last night, at least 3 of those 5 reemerged. At least, I want to say no less than 3 of the 5, if not 4 of the 5, reemerged. So I'll give a quick recap of those 5 dumb/invalid criticisms of Mo 1. Here was my number 5 most frequently expressed criticism of Mo 1. The number 5 one. Mo 1 only benefits men who are exceptionally smooth, charming, and verbally seductive. Mo 1 only benefits men who are exceptionally smooth, charming, and verbally seductive. I've heard a number of guys, particularly rival dating coaches and PUAs, that have expressed that one. Like AMS. I remember AMS, that was one of his. Matter of fact, at least 3 of these 5 have been expressed by the infamous alpha male strategies, but he's not the only one. There's a number of dating coaches or PUAs who've expressed at least one of these 5 dumb, invalid arguments. But I know this one, AMS has expressed this one. Now, actually, this criticism I mentioned before, if you took out the word only, I would agree with it. I wouldn't disagree with it if you took away the word only. The only aspect of this particular criticism I disagree with is the use of the word only. But if you took off the word only, I would say this is actually a valid assertion. Now, you do have to, if you want to be a guy who's a master seducer, and particularly a guy who can seduce what I refer to as wholesome pretenders and erotic hypocrites, you got to have a tight mouthpiece, man. You got to have a tight, smooth, persuasively charming, ultra-seductive mouthpiece. It's almost a mandatory requirement. Now, where it's not a requirement, when it comes to using Mo 1 to identify reciprocators, rejectors, and manipulative time wasters, that's where I would say being verbally smooth and verbally seductive is not really a requirement or a prerequisite. It's those 3 archetypes: the reciprocators, the rejectors, and the manipulative time wasters. With those 3 archetypes, all you got to do is be verbally direct. But you don't necessarily have to be verbally smooth and verbally seductive. You just need to be have the balls and backbone to be verbally direct. But when it comes to the 2 archetypes of the wholesome pretender and the erotic hypocrite, which is the 2 archetypes I emphasize in my book, Ooze Say It Again, Mastering the Fine Art of Verbal Seduction and Oral Sex. For those 2 archetypes, yes, you have to have a verbally smooth, charismatic, persuasively charming, ultra-seductive mouthpiece in order to seduce those 2 types of women. So, there you go. Argument number 4 is actually somewhat similar to argument number 5. And on a side note, this is another one that's been expressed among other people by the dating coach Alpha Male Strategies. And that would be Mo 1 only benefits men who possess an exceptionally handsome face and or an above average physique. I heard that one a lot yesterday in the chat room. This is one of the 5 I've heard a lot expressed by guys that were in the chat room in my one-on-one interview with Melody. A lot of guys were expressing this one, that Mo 1 only benefits men who possess an exceptionally handsome face and or an above average physique. Like a lot of guys kept saying over and over again, hey man, Mode 1 only works for really good looking guys. Mode 1 doesn't work for like average or less than average guys. Some guys put it in more harsh terms. Mode 1 doesn't work for ugly guys. And at one point I snapped off. I said, what method does work for a butt ugly motherfucker? Please explain that to me like I'm a fifth grader. If you're a guy with a butt ugly face, a totally fat, out of shape physique, what method is going to work for you with the possible exception of tricking? What method is going to work for you? You ain't going to get no pussy for free. Mark that down in your middle notes. You ain't going to get no pussy for free. If every woman you come in contact with considers your face to be unappealing, unattractive, and as well as your physique to be unappealing and unattractive, you ain't gonna never get no casual sex pussy for free. Is that blunt enough for you? Is that blunt enough for you? Since that seems like what y'all want to hear, is that blunt enough for you? You know, I've always said there's three things that contribute to you getting a woman to have sex with you, and more specifically casual sex, and that's looks, your physical appearance, your masculine sex appeal, and your mouthpiece. I ain't one of those guys. I know there's a lot of dating coaches and pickup artists out here who will try to make you believe that looks are totally unimportant. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. But then on the opposite end, you got at least a handful of people that try to make you believe that looks are everything. That's also a damn lie. So in other words, if I had to put it in terms of percentage, anybody who tells you that looks are 0% a contributing factor, that's a lie. Anybody who tells you that looks is 100% a contributing factor, that's a lie. Both extremes are lies. Attraction is never solely and specifically just about looks for most women. And there's never a situation where women are going to totally disregard your physical appearance. But anyway, going back to this crazy guy kept saying, well, Mode 1 only works for really good looking guys. It don't work for ugly guys. And my attitude was, you can say that about Mode 2 and Mode 3. You can say that about any fucking method. Again, with the possible exception of tricking, and even tricking. I know a lot of women that will turn down guys who are offering them money in exchange for their pussy if they feel like that guy is repulsively unattractive. So man, why don't y'all wake up and get a clue? Why don't y'all wake up and get a clue? Quit trying to interfere with my one-on-one interviews, you dumbass motherfuckers. Now let me continue with my recap of the 5 most dumb/invalid arguments I've heard the most related to my Mode 1 approach. Third one is, Mode 1 only works on women who are extremely kinky and or highly promiscuous, i.e. slut types. Mode 1 does not help you get women in bed who are very classy, prudish, monogamy-oriented, and or very and marriage-oriented. That's not true. Now, that one wasn't brought up last night. I don't recall anybody using that one last night, so I'm not going to expound on that one. I just simply said that's not true. I pointed it out in previous videos. But yeah, I don't remember anybody from the chat room bringing that one up. So let me move to most frequently expressed argument number 2. Because of the current Me Too movement era, using ARC's Mode 1 approach with women will cause you to end up in jail, or at bare minimum will cause you to get fired from your job. Next to the whole looks related one, argument number 4, this was probably the second most one I kept seeing posted in the chat room. Guys kept saying, man, if you're Mode 1, you're going to end up in jail. Tell me about one motherfucker that's in jail right now because of Mode 1. Please. I invite you to in my comment section. Just one. And not 10, not 5, just one. Somebody that's well known, like a celebrity, like a public figure. Name somebody that's in jail right now because they were Mode 1 with a woman. Just one. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, just one. Name somebody that's right now behind bars because he let a woman know that he was found her physically attractive. He let the woman know he found her sexually appealing, and he let the woman know he wanted to engage in one or more episodes of short-term, non-monogamous, casual sex. Name one. God damn it, name one. You extra stupid motherfuckers in this goddamn black YouTube space. You goofy ass motherfuckers. What's wrong with some of y'all, man? I mean, really? What is wrong with some of y'all? Saying this stupid shit. I just gotta shake my head at some of you goofy ass motherfuckers. And honestly, I hate to keep bringing up his name, but AMS is one of the ones who expressed this. He actually expressed it in book form in at least one of his 2 dating advice books, if not both of them. He tried to suggest that being mode 1 with women will at maximum cause you to end up in jail. Name one motherfucker that, again, that's in jail or prison right now simply because he was mode 1 with a woman. You know what y'all need to be doing? If y'all want to do your due diligence and research and pay attention to what's been going on in the news, here's the real deal. And I pointed this out on a minimum at least one previous video, and maybe as many as 2 or 3 previous videos. I see all these guys frequently making comments about my mode 1 approach, saying, hey guys, don't use ARC's mode 1 approach because you might end up getting arrested. You want to know in real terms, what's on the verge of causing guys to get arrested? Is being mode 2 and mode 3. But you don't hear nobody talking about that. The one person who actually did talk about it at least once, surprisingly, was Rollo Tomasi. I did a video about that. Rollo Tomasi is one of the few people who brought this up before, other than me. And I find that disappointing that Rollo brought it up because recently he was taking jabs at my mode 1 approach. But he's one of the guys who said that. I can name at least 2 foreign countries and at least 1 city in the United States. Denmark, Spain, and here in the United States, New York City. If you don't believe me, do your own research. In those 2 countries and that 1 city, is one of 2 things going on. Either the law has already been passed. I think in Denmark, the law has already been passed. And in other places, I don't know if it's been passed yet, but it's on the docket. Women want it passed. Yeah, there are women, feminists, specifically feminist type women, they want this to be considered date rape. If you lie to a woman, mislead a woman, emotionally manipulate a woman into having casual sex with you, basically what we call in the manosphere pump and dump. There are women around the world that are trying to get pump and dump tactics synonymous with date rape. Did you hear me? There are women that are trying to get pump and dump, basically any form of indirect verbal game, any type of method of getting women in bed that involves dishonest behavior, disingenuous and misleading behavior, and emotionally manipulative behavior. There are certain feminist groups that want that to be considered date rape. It's y'all indirect motherfuckers that need to be worried about potentially going to jail, particularly in the upcoming years, instead of talking about mode 1. Women ain't trying to make mode 1 illegal. Ain't no law on the docket right now preventing men from being mode 1 with women. That's what women want. When it comes to casual sex, women want men to be mode 1. I ain't never spoke to a woman that told me she didn't want a guy to be mode 1 if his objective was casual sex. Never. That's real talk. I have never ever spoken to a woman that I was personally acquainted with that said, Alan, if a guy's objective is casual sex, I would rather him be mode 2 and or mode 3. It's only one type of woman that doesn't want a man to be mode 1 if his objective is casual sex, and that's a manipulative time waster. A gold-digging, manipulative time waster type woman. Because she wants to play your ass. But I'm talking about the women who are interested in having casual sex with you. I've never talked to a woman that said when it comes to a guy that she's interested in having casual sex, that wanted a guy to be mode 2 or mode 3. What's wrong with some of y'all, man? Okay, y'all need to wake up, man. Women are trying to make indirect verbal game a crime. And I wouldn't give a fuck if they do. Hell yeah, quote me on saying that. I wouldn't give a fuck if they do, because I will force man to be mode 1, and then I can drop my big ass mic in your damn face. God damn it. I will feel vindicated. I ain't gonna shed a tear if them laws are passed. Again, one of the laws I believe is already been, one of those 3 places, the law has already been passed. I believe that's Denmark. In Denmark, they've already passed the law. It ain't just on the docket to be passed, voted on. It's already been passed. Yeah, and if you live in Denmark, if you use dishonest, disingenuous, misleading, emotionally manipulative, indirect game with women to score casual sex, that woman can bring you up on charges of date rape. Boom! And y'all up here worried about mode 1. Hey, don't use mode 1 because you might end up in jail. No, motherfucker, y'all keep using mode 2 and mode 3 and see if your ass don't end up behind bars. And you ain't gonna get no tears from this, brother. Because I'm tired of you goofy motherfuckers. You no balls, no backbone motherfuckers out here. You punk ass, bitch ass niggas out here. Wimps. Verbal cowards. And then the final of the 5 dumb, invalid arguments was direct verbal game, which includes ARC's mode 1 approach, will cause you to leave opportunities for sex on the table that you could have taken advantage of if you had instead chosen to use some variation of indirect verbal game. I don't remember hardly any guys using that one in the chat room during yesterday's interview. There might have been maybe one guy who expressed that one. But out of the 5 dumb, invalid arguments, the 3 that guys were expressing last night was argument number 4, which again is mode 1 only benefits guys who possess an exceptionally handsome face and or an above average physique. I heard that one quite a bit. Argument number 2, which is the whole Me Too movement thing. If you use mode 1, at maximum, you'll end up in jail. At minimum, you'll end up fired from your job. You shouldn't be using mode 1, mode 2, or mode 3 with coworkers and business colleagues anyway. I've said that multiple times before. You're stupid. You try to fuck a coworker, business colleague, particularly a subordinate, you gonna get what you got coming. And you ain't gonna get no sympathy or empathy from me. Whatever comes your way, I don't care. If you get fired and lose all your salary, Alan Roger Currie, you can rest assured, Alan Roger Currie don't care. I'm gonna be on the sidelines like, dumb motherfucker, dumb motherfucker, dumb motherfucker. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get. And the other one was argument number 5, which was you gotta possess persuasively charming, charismatic, verbally smooth, and verbally seductive mouthpiece to make mode 1 work for you. That's the one I have probably the least disagreements with. Now again, the only thing I have a problem with that one is just the use of the word only. But again, when it comes to seducing women that I refer to as wholesome pretenders and erotic hypocrites, you do have to have a tight mouthpiece. Mouthpiece is important for those two archetypes. Now again, for reciprocators, rejectors, and benevolent time wasters, you don't need a seductive mouthpiece with those three. But wholesome pretenders, erotic hypocrites, yes you do. And again, that's the whole basis why I wrote my book, Ooh, Say It Again. What else related to feedback from the interview? Yeah, again, man, it was almost a 5-hour interview. I shared a lot of stuff about BDSM related terminology, a few things about the polyamory lifestyle, like the infamous bull, hot wife, cuckold. Y'all remember when I did a video, I think earlier this year, about how guys be misrepresenting the term cuckold. A lot of guys in black YouTube and the manosphere in general totally misrepresent the term cuckold, particularly the BDSM polyamory version of a cuckold. In real simple terms, I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but in real simple terms, man, a lot of guys think any guy who's in a long-term, non-monogamous sexual relationship with a woman is a cuckold. That ain't true. For example, there's guys that are swingers that might share their wives, fiancés, or girlfriends with other men, but they're not cuckolds. In order to be a cuckold, you got to be submissive to your wife, fiancé, or girlfriend. It ain't just about your willingness to allow her to have sex with other men, but the bigger component of what makes a guy a cuckold is you got to be submissive to your woman. You basically, in blunt terms, you got to be your woman, be willing to be your woman's bitch. That's what a true cuckold is, and when you are your wife, fiance, or girlfriend's bitch. Just because you're in an open relationship or a polyamorous relationship or any other type of long-term non-monogamous relationship doesn't necessarily mean you're a cuckold. But guys use that term loosely, man, and it's if nothing else, it's just irritating, man. Y'all need to read some fucking books, man. Go out and, instead of being on YouTube all damn day, y'all need to go out and experience life and learn some shit. Become educated. I don't talk up my ass like a lot of you dudes do. A lot of you dudes on YouTube, y'all talk out your ass, man. Y'all say stupid shit that doesn't mesh with real life knowledge. I know what the problem is with most of y'all. Maybe not all of y'all. Most of y'all didn't have a father in the home. Yeah, I'm going there. That uncomfortable subject. Most of y'all goofy motherfuckers I'm talking about, y'all didn't have no father in the home, and you know you didn't. Y'all didn't have no strong male figure in your life. Y'all didn't have no strong male biological father, stepfather. Y'all didn't have a strong male figure in your life. That's why you say all this goofy shit and act out all this goofy behavior.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.
I have to agree with you on the communication piece because I actually did take a session with Alan Roger Currie, and he gave me a line that I did not think was going to work, and it worked. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my God!
Curry guys, man, he's the master. He's the master of the verbal seduction. He got that communication piece down pat.
It really worked. It just simply worked, and I just didn't think it was going to work at all.
Some guys have natural handles. Some guys have a better natural shot, but you can always improve your shot. And sex is damn sure something you can fucking learn. Look, dude, you want to learn how to talk better? I'm hiring Alan Roger Currie to get my dirty talk game on because it's always been something I want to get better at.
Verbal seduction, man. I'm like, clearly, this guy's the Michael Jordan of seduction. Like, come on now.